Welcome to the Rotary Club of Kerrville. We're so glad to have you with us today. We have so many exciting things happening. You're going to hear more about them later and next week. But I just want to tell you, it's just been so awesome. Last night, we had the wonderful honor of watching our own Christy Vandenberg be installed as the new district governor. So it was a beautiful party. Our club hosted it. It was just wonderful. And we're so proud of you. We don't want to give you up, but we're so proud of you. And the district is going to be so lucky to have you. Also, I would like to invite you to, or ask you to please mute your phones while you're here. But before you do, please check in and let everybody know that you're at your Facebook meeting. And for our guests online, if you'll please mute your computers, that would be awesome. At this point, I'd like to invite Ed Hamilton to come up and lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
First, I'd like to tell you why I had to come and have lunch with you today. Yesterday, I had lunch with some guys, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my wife called me and said, you know, you didn't come to lunch today. You didn't call me like you usually do. And here it is, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess you're going to be, and I said, who is this? So I'm here today. You bow your heads, please. For food, for life, for raiment and fellowship. Dear Lord, we thank thee. And all God's people said, amen. Amen. Oh yeah, pledge allegiance. You know, I got rights. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Also, we have a song, George.
That's okay. Before we get to the song, which will come up momentarily, and there it is, we're singing about Christy, okay? Like to announce, several months ago, I gave a program on the Light the Island initiative that the Kerrville Crook and Sliding Corporation was going to do. Last night, we presented a check for $100,000 to the city council. So we have completed it. And one of the things we announced, Stockton Williams was our very first citizen donor for the thing. So he was there last night, and we gave him credit for stepping up and in faith and in it. So thank you, Stockton. Okay, so anyhow, this is for our new district governor to the tune of Yellow Rosa, Texas. There's a brand new district governor installed just yesterday. Her name is Christy Vandenberg. We are proud that she is from our club and destined for great things, because we all know she won't take no from anyone at all. Hey. That's pretty good.
That was perfect, George. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see new faces coming back to our club. It's just getting so exciting. I'd like to welcome back Trey Atkinson and David Horn. And we have Glenn Crane with us today. I saw him walk in, and we just want to tell you welcome back, and we missed you. At this point, I would like to invite Tom Martin in to introduce our speaker.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody's face. I've been Zooming for about a year or more. I don't know, maybe 5 years. I don't know. It seems like a long, long time. And I appreciate the calls, wondering if I was still alive. There was a Tom Martin in the obituary. And at the time, seriously, during this span, and some people called and wanted to know if that was me. And I said, let me check. There were some days I would have said, well, maybe. But we made it through the tough days, and we're excited to see some sun out, and it's good to be here. Good to see y'all. It's good to be back. Today, I have a distinct privilege of introducing to you, and some of you needs no introduction, but I can't say that and then sit down. because others don't. But I'm going to introduce to you the CEO and president of Peterson Health, Corey Edmondson. Corey has been at Peterson Health for about 2 years, and he came in and we have transformed, with his leadership, we have transformed the whole culture of Peterson Health. And we are in the process of transforming the landscape of healthcare in the Texas Hill Country. Corey is an Amarillo native. He moved here from over 20 years in Midland. He is a Texas Tech graduate. I knew we'd have some pistols in the air. And he is a wonderful leader. And we are thrilled to have him. After 2 years, we're all just a little tired, but we are still very excited and thankful that he has come to lead us. You'll like Corey if you've never met him. He is an exceptional vision caster, and he's going to help you see the vision we have at Peterson Health for the years to come. So without further ado, as they say, I want to introduce to you Corey Edmondson.
It's not good. How about that? I hope everybody can hear me online as well. So Tammy's bringing up the presentation, and I'd like to say thank you for having me here and actually hopefully listening to what we have to say about Peterson. But as I looked in the crowd and saw a few faces, some very familiar, being here for 2 years, others new faces. But I have one of my bosses in the neighborhood here, Bob Schmierbeck, who's on our board of directors. I have a foundation board of director in Roy back here as well. And Mike Wilson is, oh, there's Mike. Okay, I didn't get to see Mike. So Tom, thanks you for saying that. But have some leaders in our crowd with Peterson, and excited to speak with you today. So let me go to the agenda and see if this will flip through. I think I need, is there a little thumb drive that came with this by chance? If not, I'll flip this way. And I'll go back and forth with this. So here's kind of the agenda and of what we will kind of speak about, a little bit about Peterson. If anybody's in the crowd like me and you're new to Kerrville, I just want to give you a little bit of history, a quick history about Peterson, then tell you where we are today, what the future looks like for Peterson, and then just some closing thoughts. So let me start out with this. Sid and Myrna Peterson were one of the first settlers here. Sid had health conditions, and he had gone to San Antonio several times for his heart. And before too long, he had ended up in San Antonio and passed away there. Well, his kids, Joe, Charlie, and Hal, they all said, you know what? People in Kerrville and the Hill Country don't need to go to San Antonio for healthcare. They need to be right here. So they raised the money and put the first hospital in Kerrville downtown, 55-bed hospital. They spent $1 million to get that done, and that's what got us started. They had a very philanthropic perspective. They multiple floors had beauty salons. There was lawyers. There was accountants. There were doctors in the hospital. That's what happened in the first few floors, and then it wasn't until you got to the top floors that you started having nursing care, clinical care. On the first floor, you see down there, this is a little bit of a rendering. There was actually a gas station, for those who didn't know, right at the front door almost of the hospital. You wouldn't see that today happening, but what was neat about that, my little bit of history or a folklore, so to speak, that this was one of the highest producing gas stations when it opened up, because the hospital at that time was the first hospital in the country to have air conditioning. And they took the hose from the air handler units up at the top, brought it down to the gas station. When people came in to get their gas, they stuck the hose into the car and gave people cold air. So they became air conditioned. So people were filling up with gas there so they could get cool in the summer for too long. But that philanthropic attitude and the entrepreneurship that the Petersons set in place for Peterson still exists today. And you'll see that in just a little bit. So who we are today. We are an independent, not-for-profit community health system. That means that we are governed by a local board of directors, and you see the names up there. These are leaders in our community. These are Peterson advocates. They spend hours and hours, not just a year, but a month and weekly, oftentimes, on healthcare and Peterson work. We appreciate them so much. We are fortunate to have a hospital here that is not part of some large health system. It is locally governed, and things that happen here, decisions that happen here are made here. And that brings a lot of value to how quickly we can move and change and how nimble we are as an organization. Our mission is to provide exceptional, compassionate, patient-centered care in all that we do. That's our mission. Our vision is to provide world-class care today, tomorrow, and always. Remember those last three words: today, tomorrow, and always. That'll come up later. But world-class care, that doesn't mean we're going to be a Mayo Clinic or a Cleveland Clinic. That means the things that we do today, we want to be world-class in. Can we provide everything to everybody all the time? And no, not at this given point in time. There are certain things we can't do. We're not a trauma one level center and can provide all that trauma. We're a community-based hospital that provides tremendous care for our community. But our values, everybody has a values internally or with their business or whatever, but these are Peterson's. And we use the word calling as an acronym. And you can see the words up there that are important to us with the word calling. The most important word up there that I ask my new employees during new employee orientation is, if you were to choose one word out of that list, and all of them are important, which one would you choose that was most valuable to the organization and really personally to me? For the most part, they get it right, and it's integrity. One being, if we as an organization aren't doing what we say when we say it and doing it in the right, honest way, then foundationally things crumble. I will tell you that this organization, from an integrity standpoint, we may not do everything perfect. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but I can tell you one thing: we're doing it in an honest way. We're looking at the big picture, and we're looking at not just individual situations and people, but we're looking at everything and everybody as to take care of our community in the Hill Country. About a year and a half ago, we set forth on a plan with our board and other leaders within our organization, and we put a strategic initiative and plan together. And we said that we have 5, that is not coming up very good up there, the way that's done. I just noticed that. Y'all can't even see that.
No, but I can't get to it for that. I'm
You need to
sorry.
escape.
Yeah, we need to get out of there, because what we have to do here, we got. Let's minimize this just a little.
Go to presentation mode.
And then let's do this. And let's see. Maybe I can.
Just go to presentation mode.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, go to presentation, because I've already got you one. I was afraid that's why I didn't jump. Yeah, now you gotta get it.
There you go, right there. All right, there's the slide. All right, so here we go. Now you can actually see what's going on. Someone should have said, "Hey, that looks really weird up there." We can't tell. But here we go. These are 5 strategic initiatives that we decided to move on. It's about having an exceptional team, providing exceptional care, having growth. We're not a stagnant organization. We're growing, and you'll see a little bit more of that later. The stewardship of sustainability, doing right thing with the money that we have and the resources that we have. We want to be good stewards of our resources. And then healthy community. This isn't just about Kerrville as a whole, it's about the Hill Country, but it's also about having a healthy community within Peterson. We want to be the healthiest employer with our employee base that we possibly can in Kerrville. But all of those drive right back to our mission and vision and values. But I just wanted to get you to know that we do have strategic initiatives, and the decisions that we make are certainly aligned with these initiatives. All those initiatives have brought us to this. We're moving and shaking. These are awards, they're accolades that we received. At the very top, you see this Texas Quality Award that we received last year. We were one of 3 hospitals in the state to receive that. That is the highest quality award that you can achieve. And we applied for that. They came and did a site survey. They double checked and made sure we were doing what we said we were doing, and they gave us the governor's award. You also see up there in the far right-hand corner, Modern Healthcare is a national publication in healthcare. But we were out of 150 healthcare organizations, that's manufacturers, that's pharmaceutical companies, that's hospitals. We were rated as 2021 best places to work in healthcare. There was only 150 nationwide, and we were one of them. We're proud of that. That means our culture and our employees are believing of what we're doing. And it's exciting news. The rest of them are safety and quality awards for orthopedics and other things that we're achieving. It's exciting news. We're even rated at an A financially. Fitch and Standard & Poor's is rating us strong. Our balance sheet is strong. COVID certainly had a major impact on us last year, and it had a major impact on this fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs July through June. So at the end of 2020 fiscal year, it really hit us hard, but it did as well, but we still have weathered the storm. So those are just, I just want to give you guys a perspective on quality, but also what we mean locally as well. We're one of the largest, we are the largest employer in Kirk County, and over 1,000 employees, and we're a huge driver of economy here. And we want to be that, and we've been that for a long, long time. Our wages and benefits, we pay over $92 million a year in wages and benefits, and that's back in 2020. It's reaching the 3-digit number, $100 million in wages and benefits as an employer in Kirk County. Bad debt and charity care, when the Peterson family said, hey, you guys, we're setting this up, we're taking care of the Hill Country, they were supporting us financially. So when we lost money back in 1949 through however long, they were supporting us financially. And that was through charity care. We're here to take care of the community. We still do that today. And you can see financially, in 2020, we spent over $37 million in that between bad debt and charity care. That was in 2020. I can tell you in 2021, and that went down because of COVID. Just double check the 2021 year-to-date number. We're going to be up to $48 million this year in total between charity and bad debt. Bad debt is those people who can afford care but choose not to pay us. We have to write that off. Yes, that happens. We don't get paid for the care that we provide, and we have to absorb that and figure out what to do. But just want to give you of who Peterson is and about Peterson. So that's today. And where's Peterson moving tomorrow? Here's our conviction, and here's where the rubber meets the road. We want to remain viable and independent as an organization for the next 70 years. We're about to turn 73 years old, okay, as an organization. And we, with our vision and mission in providing world-class care today, tomorrow, and always, it takes all of us to be the whole community to drive and perform this way. But our goal and our conviction is to be viable, independent. When the board hired me 2 years ago, I remember sitting in the boardroom and they were interviewing me. It was a 4-hour interview. And towards the end, they said, can you keep us fiercely independent? And I sat there and thought for a minute. I went, absolutely. That's the goal. That's what drove me here. It's one of the things is because you're an independent organization, and that's who we want to maintain and continue to be. But to do that, our services and our facilities, they're critical to our success. You probably haven't gone into a Peterson Health building that doesn't look world-class. There are some older buildings, but we take very good care of our buildings, and we want to continue to do that. The board is supportive of that. They want to provide world-class in all we do. as an organization and supporting our communities and services that we provide. So you just probably heard about, so moving forward, you heard about our urgent care center move. We moved down to a building we bought a while back across from Gibson's. That was the old freestanding, what was, if you were here when Neighbors, freestanding ER opened up shop. They spent over $5 million on this building. They lasted 8 months, and then they left town. They didn't do their market research to figure out whether this was the right market to do something like that or not. Well, we acquired that building and we moved our urgent care center down there and renovated it and updated it. And I believe we had a few panels to go to make that a newer looking outside building. But I believe we're about finished, and we just opened that up a few weeks ago. Hopefully you won't have to attend that or our ER, but if you do, you're going to a world-class facility. The other thing that was important as we moved forward and we talked with our board and that whole strategic planning piece was this idea that, hey, if we're going to provide world-class facilities and world-class care and services and the things we do, what does that look like? And we determined pretty quickly when we did our study and did some financial analysis that outpatient services was a key to our success. When you think about the whole gross revenue that our organization produces overall, it's about $650 million in gross revenue. 70% of that revenue comes from outpatient work, not butts and beds. Okay, those patients in beds, 30% of our revenue comes from that work. It has flipped. It used to be opposite, but because where healthcare is going is moving to the outpatient world and doing surgery. What used to take 3 days in the hospital, for example, Christy Vandenberg, I don't know how many surgeries, how many days you stayed in care when you had your knee replacements and hips and all, but you probably stayed 2, 3, 4 days in the hospital at that time. Today, Christy would be expected to go home in a day. Get her surgery, go home. Maybe stay the night, but we're gonna get her out. That's the expectation of insurance and the expectation of Medicare. Why is that? Technology has changed, things have changed, and we now are offering those kinds of services in an outpatient setting. So to do that and to move forward and be ahead of the curve, we have to think strategically and what we have to do. So we go back to the board and we say, this is what we think. Our ambulatory care center is an outpatient facility. We have doctor's offices. We have all these things, but our ambulatory care center specifically is a 20th century building. That was the first campus or first building on our campus 20 years ago when we bought the land across the river. But it was the first building. It was built in the 20th century, and we're trying to provide 21st century care in that building today. When we built that, it was built to house or see about 100 patients a day to go through there, okay? Who has been there recently and tried to find a parking place? Okay, you can't. It is hard. We're busting at the seams. We're seeing 300 patients a day in that building. It is a high intensity building, and we have to do something. In order for us to grow and for us to maneuver, we have to do something with that building, and so we have a plan. And we went to the board and we went to a steering committee who helped us kind of formulate a plan. But in the end, they came up, we said, you know what, we think the community very much wants to support something like this, wants to support Peterson. So let's go and look at it, an opportunity, see if there's an appetite maybe for a capital campaign to help us grow as a nonprofit organization and as a center of excellence for healthcare in the Hill Country. And to make a long story short, when I told you to remember the 3 words today, tomorrow, and always, we have come up with a capital campaign called the Today, Tomorrow, and Always Capital Campaign to raise funds for our future. And that I told you about our ambulatory care center. That's what we're going to be doing first. In order for us to grow and to expand in the ambulatory care center, we have to do some things there. And we're going to have to do some pretty big multi-million-dollar renovations in that building for imaging to grow, physical therapy to grow, and some other aspects. And we were thankful when we went and talked to the Peavy House family, and specifically Missy Holscher. She's part of the Peavy House family, and talked to the Peavy House Family Foundation in Midland, Texas, and said, here's our vision. Here's what we want to do. What do you think about this? And they were all on board with it. And they gave a large donation to support our endeavor to renovate the ambulatory care center for our future. So that building, if you've been there lately, you see a temporary banner across the front of it that calls it the Peavy House Ambulatory Care Center. We're thankful for the Peavy House family to donate money for us to expand there. And we're not stopping there. As that support grew and all, we said, okay, something's got to be removed out of the ambulatory care center, because we can't just renovate and think we're going to continue to see 300 patients there. We need to remove something and relocate something. What is that? And so we planned, and what we thought was going to be a 7-year strategic plan, because we did a 10-year plan overall, and said, okay, what does our campus look like in 10 years? Our steering committee, who we met with, that kind of led us to thinking bigger. And this was a steering committee of donors and potential Peterson individuals who are supportive of what we do, understand our vision, where we're headed. They say, you need to think bigger. And we did. And what we came up with, what we thought was a 7-year plan, turned into a quick 1-year plan. And that was to build a brand new surgery center. We are removing the surgery center out of the Peavy House Ambulatory Care Center and building a brand new one right out in front of the hospital. This will be our newest building on campus that we're extremely excited about. This is obviously a multi-million-dollar building, but when we went to a donor and said, we think this makes sense for you and your family. Would you be willing to fully kind of support this in a way that it ends up being a naming right opportunity? And so David and Amanda Williams, many of you guys know probably David and Amanda, they donated money to help us see this building. And it's going to feature, a year from now, we're going to break ground on the David and Amanda Williams Surgery Center. It's exciting. This is monumental for Kerrville. It's monumental for Peterson. And again, we're not stopping here. This is our strategic plan and our vision moving forward as an organization. We'll break ground May roughly of next year, and it'll take us about a year to build it. And then after that, we'll go back to the ambulatory care center, the Peavy House Ambulatory Care Center, and start to renovate that building. And so by 2024, roughly, we'll be done with this kind of a master project. But you're about to hear more opportunities for us in the future over the next 6 to 24 months. We're not stopping here. I'll share more with you later. I say that because Peterson is growing. We're moving and shaking. Our market share overall, in not only in Kerrville, but in the what we call the corporate service area, has grown. Kerrville already gets, we're a hub for retail, we're a hub for all kinds of things, right? As a community for the Hill Country, we are that for healthcare as well. The demand on healthcare for Peterson is tremendous and has grown more and more and more. With the awards that we're receiving, the quality of care that we're doing, people are driving and coming here. So we have to stay ahead of that curve. Between San Antonio, Austin, and Kerrville over the next 10 years, many of you guys know, this is going to be the fastest growing area in the United States. If you've talked to any developers, confirm that. But if you think, it's not just in Texas, but in the United States. And if Kerrville as a city doesn't get ahead of this, we're going to get behind. It's going to run us over. Peterson is the same way. If we don't get ahead of the growth and create and meet the demand on healthcare, it's going to get ahead of us. Well, we're proactive and we're ahead of it, and we feel good about our future. So closing thoughts really quick. Just wanted you guys to know that, one, Peterson is proactive and we're growing. Our market position has grown. We operate now in Kerrville, Comfort, and Bandera. We're not just a local hospital. We're a regional hospital. We believe we're the best in the Hill Country, so we need to be in the Hill Country. And so that's why you see us expanding to Bandera and Comfort. We have 12 rooftops now, providing healthcare in the region. We have growth plans over the next 6 to 24 months. Kerrville completely supports us, and we're so thankful for that. And we've seen more and more of that support over the last 6 months that we've been talking to individuals about this campaign. It's been overwhelming personally to me when we go and talk to prospective donors, and they're like, we're all on board and we're willing to support you. And the kind of financial support they've given us has been incredible. But we need all of Kirk County's support, not only just as you know, from a service standpoint, but being cheerleaders, being advocates, knowing who we are and what we're about, talking the good game about what we're accomplishing as an organization. So this is my last slide. I'm wrapping up. Peterson is on the grow. We're not your local hospital. We are a regional hospital. We are local from a standpoint, we're here to take care of Kerrville. Absolutely. But there's more people that we're taking care of outside of Kerrville that are coming to us. There are, going back to what Hal and Charlie said when they set up the Sid Peterson Memorial Hospital back then in 1949, people don't need to go to San Antonio for care. They need to get it right here in Kerrville, and they deserve it right here in Kerrville. And we're trying to continue to deliver on that promise and what their goal was. And quite frankly, if you haven't been outside of Kerrville and you've been here most of your life, or if you've been in another small community, you recognize that we're pretty fortunate here to have the comprehensive services that we have at Peterson and the subspecialty care that we have at Peterson as far as the doctors are concerned. You just don't get that in a small community. And we're fortunate. So we are the healthcare hub for the Hill Country. So that's it. That's my kind of thought and presentation. You get a little bit of flavor on your table about our campaign and what that's about. We absolutely would love for you to be part of that in whatever fashion that is. But that's a little bit about our campaign and kind of why we did what we were doing. So that's my story. Any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
Technically, y'all are ahead. Charlie and I just noticed your features being subtitled below.
Yeah.
Never noticed that. Never seen that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
A couple of years ago, I had one of your tricky procedures that appendectomy, if I pour out, I do the next day. But the question is, when I got the billing from Medicare, number here that you charged, and there was this number here that they paid. Well, I'm assuming that there was this based on actual cost, which are accounted. What happens to that difference? Does it go into that bad debt category?
No, it doesn't. To answer that question, it doesn't go into bad debt. So the number that we charge is our chargeable. That's what we charge everybody. Medicare,
Oh, wow.
Insurance, Shield.
That's crazy.
Contracted rates with them. So the difference between what you charge and what Medicare paid, that gap is called a contractual allowance. I'm getting technical for you here. But we removed that and we charge that off, and that brings us to what we actually got paid. So it's just a write-off. Yep. But we don't call it bad debt because we did get paid. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of the businesses in town are having a hard time getting employees. Do you have that same problem? And how is your salary structure compared to hospitals in larger areas?
Thank you for setting that up. We are struggling. I mean, I'll give you a story. We need nurses, and we were recruiting a husband and wife from Phoenix, Arizona. They came here for 2 weeks. They looked for a house, could not find one that they could afford anyway. And they said, sorry, we're going back to Phoenix. We're not coming to Peterson Health to work. That is devastating to us as an organization because we need nurses, and it's difficult. From a salary structure standpoint, pressure is on us to compete for nurses in the greater county of our trauma area. So we compete with San Antonio and the big hospitals there financially. So that puts a strain on us. And also locally, we need, we're almost a small little city in amongst ourselves as far as the spectrum of type of employees we have. And so we need from our doctors and all the way across the board of kind of employees we need. So it's a struggle, but we're surviving. We do have contracted nurses who come in at a very high rate. It costs us double what we'd normally pay a nurse, but that's what we have to do to survive. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. There's another hand up that was over here. Yes, sir.
Would there ever be a plan
If we were, is there a plan for Peterson to ever establish a Trauma One level center? So the Trauma One level center in this area is in San Antonio, and that's a university. Methodist isn't even a Trauma One level center. They're level 2. For us to get to a level 1, very doubtful for our future unless we became as big as San Antonio. It's just it just doesn't make sense. We are, in fact, this next week, we'll be surveyed for a trauma level 4 organization. So we're meeting that next level, and we're basically providing level 4 trauma, but we're getting surveyed by the state for that. Will we get to a level 3? Possibly in our future, but I don't ever see us get to a 2 or a 1, not in my lifetime. What else?
What are you gonna do with the old there?
So great question. Thanks for leading me into that. The old urgent care building will be turned into our community care clinic. We're actually renovating that building now. And in mid-July, we'll move our community care clinic, which is in the River Oaks Shopping Center, and we're moving it out there. And so we'll be providing still primary care of sorts out that way. And we've got plans for the River Oaks building as well. We're going to move our endocrinology practice into that building and start providing a center of excellence for endocrinology and growing and having the diabetes and learning center. So that's another one of those growth plans I didn't talk about. I said over the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to be doing other things, and that's one of them. It's just not well positioned yet. Yes, sir.
So to real estate, what are you gonna do with the old hospice building on Broadway?
So we have turned that into what we're calling the WOW building. That stands for Warehouse on Water. We tried to sell that space and there were no takers. And we were growing and needed places for our supplies and all. And so we've renovated that place and turned it into a warehouse. And that's what we're doing with it there. Do you know a buyer? Do you want to buy it? I'm happy to.
I don't wanna buy it. Useful.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Yes, sir. Yeah. Man, you guys are asking some fabulous setup questions, and I did not plant those in these people's heads, okay? Yeah. So the reimbursement in healthcare has gone down, down, down. Continue to get pressure. Medicare doesn't expand. It's been years. It'd been probably 15, 20 years before they had ever tried to raise rates for what we do. This year, there may be a 2 or 3% raise in certain categories. It's our first time to get that. But the pressure there, but to give us an increase in reimbursement over here, they're cutting over here. So it's always a budget neutral thing for the government. They rob Peter to pay Paul. Insurance companies are always calling to renegotiate rates. And so we have to continue to find ways to do more with less for what we're doing. It's a tough environment. When I showed you that charity care slide, we qualify people for charity care. It's our own charity care policy that they qualify for. We use the federal poverty guidelines for that, but we write off a lot of money for charity care and provide free care. And then of course the bad debt that on the backside is pretty insurmountable at times as well. So I don't think people realize, the level of uncompensated care we as an organization or hospitals often provide. All they hear about is, well, they're just charging out the wazoo for rates. Going back to our Medicare chargeable rate, we don't get those rates. We don't get paid our charges. But we do take care of a lot of uncompensated care. So, yes, sir.
Sidebar question to that. Your comment on the impact of zip codes on
That one you've thrown me. Zip codes in regards to our reimbursements.
particularly take ministry as an example. Their reimbursements are structured tried by insurance companies by zip code. So depending on the heights, you get one zip code, your reimbursement rate is different than it is in Kerrville, Texas.
Yep, got it. I understand. Yes. So in healthcare, CMS, which is Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they monitor your wage rate, they monitor your charges, they monitor your costs. We turn in cost reports. It's a complicated mess. But based on your zip code and what your charges are, what your wage rates are, they reimburse you accordingly. So what I get reimbursed in Kerrville, Texas is completely different than what they get reimbursed in New York. Okay, it's not the same rate. It is different. And so it depends on where you live, what your costs are, cost of living, and all the things that you submit to the government and how much they reimburse you. So hopefully that answered your question. So I'm going to get to Christy in just a minute because I got a story on her. Yes, sir.
On this bad debt, people who can pay and just walk away, well, why don't you hire water and soup?
Yeah. It's it's something tough it's a tough discussion. And as an organization, we have to balance chasing people for that bad debt. And we do some things like giving them a cash discount. If they'll pay us today, we'll reduce, at certain times, but we haven't gone after people in a way that we're going to break their legs if they don't pay. Right. But is that something we might have to do in our future? Maybe. That's definitely going to be a board decision and discussion that I'd have to bring to them. But right now it is just something we're trying to work with individuals independently on and to try to get reimbursed. So we're trying to be a compassionate organization, but we can only be compassionate for so long before we see red numbers. And once we are really suffering like that, then things have got to change. We'll do it as long as we can. One more question, then I got a story on Christy. Yes, sir. Yeah. So if you're driving up to the hospital There's a parking lot, in the first parking lot on the right is where it's going to be located. In fact, if you drive there today, you'll see a sign, a little a promotional that shows the surgery center, but that's where it's going to be. So it's going to be the first beautiful building you're going to have coming up. That's going to tell the Hill Country Kerrville's something else. They believe in their community, and this is a community that knows what they're doing. So, all right. Same place. We have, yeah. So Christy, she's, I want to take credit that she's so popular because have you seen her billboards? They're out on I-10. They're, everywhere. She's out there running marathons and doing all kinds of things. But anyway, we just giving Christy a hard time. She's a Peterson advocate. She had great experience there. We have used her in our orthopedic program and promotion. She's the face of kind of orthopedics right now because of what she's done and how well she's accomplished in moving around. And she's a mover and a shaker, as you know. So we're thankful for Christy and her time with us to let us promote her and put her face in the public. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'm around if you have other questions.
Thank you so much, Corey. We know that it's not easy for a small hospital, community hospital, to remain private. The people that came before you and your enthusiasm now has allowed us to keep that legacy alive for the Peterson family. So thank you so much for being so excited and energetic about it all. I'd like to ask Janelle Peralt, Roy Boudreau, any current board member, if you're a current board member, could you please come up here, please? And Christy. So as you know, COVID happened. We had a bunch of stuff planned. We were so excited up here for this year up here. Yeah. Our budget was set. We had plans. We had events. We were ready to go, but we didn't get to do a lot. And what ended up happening was at the end of this year, and you'll see more about this in the next week. But at the end of this year, we had a bunch of money. And because of that, we wanted to do something that was really special for a bunch of people. I wanted to, and the board agreed, to focus on the people that also struggled through this year too and did the most for us. And Corey, your people have been on the front line this whole time. I know how hard you work. I know how much your heart is in it. And we wanted to do something for you with our money. So I'd like you to come up here with our board and Christy and present you with this check.
Wow. Thank you. Incredible. Thank you very much. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your enthusiasm.
Wow. I'm a passionate guy. As you can probably tell, this is huge for us. For those who don't, for you that don't know how much this is, it's $10,000. And absolutely incredible. Yeah. This, when I said that Kerrville supports Peterson, this is a perfect example of that. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you. And we did, it was a struggle with COVID. When Tammy was talking about that, I was getting teary-eyed. Because I'm not thinking of myself, I'm thinking of what the staff did. And the sacrifice and the energy, what they did to support the community, it's just incredible. Wish we were a part of that and saw what was going on, but this is certainly a huge help in what we did. So the money is great, but what's more meaningful is the support and show support. That's more valuable to me than the money. So thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Guys, next week is gonna be my last meeting. This is a preview of what you're gonna get to see next week. I told you at the beginning of my first year that I wanted us to do everything together, and next week we're gonna participate together in giving some money to some other people. And that's all because of your hard work, and it'll be the first time that I know of you'll get to see in person that money being handed out. So that'll be next week. I would like to welcome our guest, Tom Martin. Do you want to introduce Nelwyn?
We have with us Nelwyn Barnett. She is the Associate Director of Development in our department at Peterson Health. And she has been with us and we love her. She's been a tremendous addition. And she does a lot of logistics for us and also other things. She happens to be the bride of Brad Barnett, whose name you may recognize, maybe not. He is the new CEO and executive at the Chamber of Commerce. And so we're proud and very glad to have her.
Philip Stacy, you have a guest?
Paul Martinez, he's the Director of Engineering.
And we have a visiting Rotarian from the San Antonio Downtown Club, Weir Labatt. Thank you for coming with us again. We talked about Christy. We talked about next week. I need to ask you to look in your inbox to see if you paid your invoice from March. If you have, if you haven't, please get that paid because we're sending out new ones starting in July. So just help us keep that up. Also, Glenn Crane. Welcome back. Could you come up here and get your Paul Harris certificate? I'm trying to give these out as people are coming in, but Glenn Crane was gifted for his birthday a Paul Harris award. Christy, just take it to him. And we wanted to make sure that he got it. And anyway, so. We welcome you back. Okay, guys, that means it's time for wine. If you're wearing your pin, if you are wearing your pin and I call your name, we have a nice bottle of red wine for you. So Carolyn Northcutt, who left. Doug Winery, are you wearing your pin? Woohoo!
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have a bottle of wine for you.
Great.
We'll figure out, I'll send it with Christy. Okay.
I might get it that way.
You may never get it.
We have rocked it. I have to tell you, I was worried about having quarterly blood drives, but we have filled them up until now. Had 24 of 30 filled. So if you have a major appointment, please make your appointment for tomorrow. We'll be at Kroenwege Motors from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. As you know, there's a critical blood shortage, and anything that you can do to help, or if you don't or can't, send someone in your place. All right, guys, I don't have a Families and Rotary announcement, so if you'll join me in the four-way test. Of the things that we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?